Good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Pete Silva with the Albuquerque Police Department's Recruiting Unit. And thank you for joining us again for another Workforce Connection Facebook Live hiring event.
And I'm Detective Michelle English, also with the Recruiting Unit. Today, we're just going to go over the basic minimum requirements to join our department. And also we have special guest, the basic staff unit.
So to join the police department, there's some basic minimum requirements. We're saying these are the minimum requirements because this is what you need to get started with that application. And so the first requirement is for you to be 21 years of age by the date of graduation. So you can start the academy at 20, but as long as you're going to turn 21 at some point within the academy, you can join up. Have a valid driver's license and you must have a New Mexico driver's license within 30 days of being hired. You must be a U.S. citizen. You must have a high school diploma or GED.
We also are hiring laterals. That means you're already an officer with another agency or you're certified to be an officer and you're going to transfer over to our department. So that person needs to have be already certified, whether in state or out of state. If you're out of state and you're certified, you must file the paperwork with our Department of Public Safety to ensure that your experience and training cross over and is sufficient to become a New Mexico police officer. You will have to complete probation period with our department and a lateral academy, which is about 6 to 9 weeks, and serve 1 year of probation.
So as far as salary goes, as a cadet in the academy, so if you're a police applicant, you're planning to become a brand new police officer, you're going to be called a cadet in the police academy. And that's going to start, you're going to start at $19.35 an hour while you're in the academy. Once you graduate, you become a patrolman second class. You're going to be making $21.27 an hour for the first year of your probationary period. After you serve your 4 months of OJT, you'll have an additional 6 months of probationary period before you are become a police officer first class, at which point you'll be bumped up to $29 an hour.
So the pay scale for lateral officers, if you have less than 2 years of experience as a sworn certified law enforcement officer, you will start at $21.27 an hour. If you have more than 24 years of experience as a sworn certified officer, you will start at $28 an hour. And then 1 year after your probation, or I'm sorry, after you complete your probationary period, you will begin earning $29 an hour.
So benefits, the city of Albuquerque offers some of the best benefits you can get. It's always one of the highest things that people come back for is the benefits when they retire and they come back as a rehire officer. We have some really great benefits: medical, dental, vision, vacation and sick accrual. Now we used to only have 10 paid holidays. We now have 11, including your birthday. It's considered a paid holiday for you, so you get that annually. Take-home vehicle program. Many agencies do not offer a take-home vehicle. We've done a little math, just kind of wear and tear, gas prices and things that you're going to accrue using your own vehicle going to and from work. And that's about $8,000 you're saving a year with the take-home vehicle program. And, they encourage you to use your vehicle to go and park it in front of your house to be part of that community, to have that police presence in a community. A lot of neighbors will appreciate that there's a police officer in the neighborhood, seeing that police car and hopefully drive down some crime. Pre-hire contingent program. So let's say you've got through the testing process and you're waiting for the academy and you need a job, and we can bring you on as a pre-hire until your academy starts. You'll be starting at that academy cadet pay with $19.35 an hour until your academy starts, which time you'll be a cadet, still making the $19 an hour, but you don't have to sit around waiting for a job. We can bring you on as a pre-hire. We offer tuition reimbursement. The city of Albuquerque encourages you to continue your education. Although we only require a GED or high school diploma, we do always encourage you to continue that education, go out and get your degree. If that's what you want to do, the city's going to help you and support you in doing that. There's education leave available. It's 3 hours, I believe, per pay period. So if you have some homework or some extra work you need to do for school, you can take off 3 hours early and go get that done, or work on homework, whatever you need to do. And the last thing is student loan forgiveness. This is brand new. $25,000 in student loan forgiveness that the city's offering. And the way that works is once you've completed your degree and you've graduated from the academy and you're now a police officer, police officer on the street, you can apply for this student loan forgiveness. And it's up to $25,000 paid out in increments over a 7-year period. But again, you have to have that degree first because the city does encourage you to continue your education.
Some additional pay incentives, we have a shift differential. So if you're working swing shift, you'll earn $300 annually more than a day shift officer. And if you're working grave, you'll earn $600 annually more than a day shift officer. If you pass the test, verbal and written, you can earn between $240 and $600 annually extra for the bilingual pay. If you have your bachelor's, you will earn $1,620 more over your salary. If you have your master's, that's almost $2,000 extra a year. And if you have your doctorate, that's over $2,000 a year annually for the educational incentive pay.
And so one thing that it's important to mention with these incentive pays is that they count towards your retirement. So your top 5 years of your highest 5 years of pay, if you had your bachelor's degree or your master's or maybe your PhD, that's going to count towards your retirement. So that's going to be something you receive the rest of your life in your retirement pay. One thing that's not mentioned on here is the newest is our field training officer pay. Field training officers are generally officers who've been on for 2 or more years, and they're training new officers once they get out on the street, and they teach them the ropes. They're making $9,100 a year annually in field training officer pay. So that's counting towards the retirement, the top 5 years. So our retirement is 25 years. If you stay for 30 years, it's 90% of your top 5 years. So that's quite a significant retirement income that you're going to receive. And it's important to understand that, we want you to stay for that full 25 years or 30 years. We want you to stay and receive these benefits throughout your career.
So let's go over the minimum physical requirements to join the Albuquerque Police Department. So when you test with us, you'll have to complete 4 physical tests. The first one is push-ups. You have to complete 15 push-ups in 1 minute or less. We do want maximum effort though, so please try and do more than that. Also, you will have to complete 27 sit-ups in 1 minute or less, again, maximum effort, and a 1.5 mile run in 15 minutes, 14 seconds or less. Finally, a 300-meter sprint in 71 seconds or less. For those of you not sure what 300 meters is, it's about 3/4 of a regular track.
And if you're worried about the physical fitness, just remember, we're here for you to do a no-score PT. So if this is something that concerns you, don't let it be too much of a problem. We'll work with you to get you there. I'm going to introduce you to Sergeant Steve Martinez and Officer Shane Treadway with our basic academy staff. They're going to talk to you today about what the expectations are of them and what you should expect when you join the police academy. It's an intimidating thing, but hopefully they'll shed some light and maybe answer some questions that you might have about the police academy. So thank you guys for joining us. We have a lot of candidates that are worried about the basic training and what it's going to be like. So can you guys just kind of walk us through what it looks like for a normal day for a police cadet?
Sure. You arrive usually at 6:30 in the morning, depending on our schedule, but that's usually the start time. We start off with some physical fitness training, which is led by our health and wellness instructor, who you'll meet if you decide to embark on this journey. After physical training, which consists of running, kettlebells, some kind of body weight movements designed to get you healthy, but in a safe manner. After physical training, you'll be allowed to shower and groom. From there, you will attend blocks of instruction, which varies from day to day. And you do get a lunch, which is important. We encourage that you eat well and healthy. And after lunch, you continue your blocks of instruction, and usually it will end the day about 4 p.m.
So how important is it for, let's say, if you're concerned about your fitness before the academy? It sounds like you guys are going to be doing a lot of fitness during the academy. So should I try to be in top physical peak condition? I mean, is it something that's going to hurt me if I'm not in my peak physical? I mean, if I can pass the minimums, is that going to hurt me in the academy?
You know, those minimum standards are just those. They're minimum. We want you to be as prepared as possible. But we also, you know, are very progressive throughout the academy. We start at a level that, you know, all of our candidates can meet, right? They pass those minimum standards. And then we progress throughout the academy to try to get them in the best shape possible when they actually go out to the streets.
That's awesome. So you guys are going to work with them quite a bit. I know that we work with the candidates on the recruiting side to help them get in shape. It sounds like you don't necessarily need to be top physical fitness. I mean, we're not training Olympic athletes, right? I mean, Shane here can run a mile and a half in 9 minutes, I'm sure. But is that something they should strive for?
Always. I mean, you know, you definitely want to be in the best shape possible. You know, the academy can be very stressful, and there's obviously a physical component to that, but it shouldn't deter you from chasing that dream. We're going to get you there. We want you to be physically fit and safe, obviously, when you're going through all that physical activity.
Awesome. Another question that we get a lot is, what's the most challenging part for the academy? And I guess from the perspective of a cadet's eyes, and maybe you can kind of guide them through what some of the challenges they can expect are. I know for me, it was tough waking up so early. Oftentimes, I had to get a lot of stuff together, all my gear, preparing my uniform. Is there something that stands out that the cadets are just like really struggle with, and maybe they can prepare ahead of time?
Well, each cadet is different, but I see the physical fitness portion is what they normally will struggle with on a day-to-day basis if they're not prepared before the academy starts. And you have to be regimented. You have to develop a schedule, get your stuff together every night, make your lunch, have your gear ready to go. You'll develop a routine that'll help out. But the routine is the key to this. If you develop a good, solid routine, you won't forget stuff. You'll be on time. You'll be on track to start your day each day.
Yeah, I think, like Sarge was saying, I think just having that like self-discipline, right? To be able to do every day to the best of your abilities every single time. And yeah, developing some type of routine is the best way to kind of hold yourself accountable, know what to expect the next day.
So I had a community meeting, and I did a presentation for some kids on Zoom. It's called the Downtown School Collaborative. And I had a really interesting question come up. A little girl, I showed her a video of the first day, the orientation day, where they're out and they're doing a lot of different exercises together. And I know there's male candidates or male cadets, and there's female cadets. And this little girl actually said, I didn't know that there was girl police officers. And, you know, I told her, I said, man, there's so many out there. Can you shed some light on that and maybe just dispel some rumors about, like, you know, female candidates, maybe that they can't be cops, because we all know that they can, but can you guys talk about it from a basic perspective?
Sure. As far as female cadets or officers, we have 3 of the top officers, men or women, on our staff, the basic training unit. They're elite officers, and they're the ones who are going to help and prepare you get ready. Just because you're a female doesn't mean you can't compete with the men. Some females outperform many of our men, especially in shooting, for example. A lot of our females are better shooters than men. It's just the way it's been since I've been here. We have a Top Gun award for the best shooter, and it's always a female that's in the running to win that award. So it's important, not just because you're female, you can do it, and we encourage more females to apply because you're an asset to our department.
That's really cool. I know me personally working, in the field. I worked in the field for around 13, 14 years, and I worked with so many female officers who were just amazing. And oftentimes I almost preferred working with female officers because I just found that it just be easier for me to work with female officers at times. And certain times communication was easier. So I certainly encourage as many female officers as can to apply. Contact recruiting. We have a female recruiter that works with us, Michelle, and she's one of the most amazing athletes that I know. So when you think about the police academy, obviously you think about like these movies where there's a guy yelling in your face, or like the, Marine boot camp or something like that. Is any of that true? I mean, or if it is true, how much of it is true?
Well, there is a level of stress. It's designed to be that way. Some stress inoculation. We're designed to get you prepared to handle stress, because this can be a stressful occupation. Especially if you're on the streets of Albuquerque, it can be stressful dealing with the citizens who need help in a variety of ways. We do push-ups, we do run, we do sit-ups, but it's not designed to hurt you or break you. This isn't the Army, this isn't the Marines, it's not boot camp. It's to prepare you to be a better police officer, to serve our community. It's not designed to hurt you, like I said.
For sure, one of the easiest ways to stress somebody is physically. We've all been tired, and it's hard to think when you're physically depleted.
Right.
So that's one of the easiest ways that we can safely stress people out and still get them to function under that pressure.
Yeah. I think that, and I'm sure you guys have felt the same way at some point in your career where you were tired, maybe you were working graveyard and having to stay up late and still having to, you still have a job to do. You still have a citizens to protect. You have calls to answer. And I think that it's important to understand that, this stress is about mental stress. It's not really so much about physical. We want you to be physically fit, but that mental stress is what's going to take you out of the game on the streets. Once you're out there and you're a police officer, if you can't think your way or logic your way through a problem, you might make a big mistake. And, as we can see that when police make mistakes, they can be big mistakes, and we want to avoid that. And I think that's important to have that stress.
For sure, definitely. And when you're used to it, and when you've practiced it, it builds confidence. You're able to make better decisions. It's a great point.
So watching the video that's kind of playing in the background, I know some of it's from team building day, some of it's from various portions. What is team building day?
So it's kind of an all-encompassing day. Bring candidates in for the first day of the academy. It's a pretty long, rigorous day to kind of get their mind right on what they can expect out of the academy. It's very early, probably earlier than we would normally start our day. So it's usually dark out. Sometimes it's cold, just depending on the weather. And we run them through a little bit more intense day than we would normally experience at the academy, as far as from a physical standard. But it's really to get them to know each other, to start bonding right away. Like that first day is so important, to start building that teamwork, which is, the foundation of policing is that teamwork. Get them to introduce themselves to each other, get to know each other right away, because you're spending a lot of time with these individuals over the next 6 months.
Right. Yeah. And I can, again, drawing back to my own experience, I remember my first day, I didn't really know anybody. So I kind of wish they would have had team building day. And as a recruiter, I've watched you guys, administer these different exercises, and they're very interesting, like the kind of teamwork, the kind of it's what we're talking about. It seems like, different exercises where they have to logic their way through a problem as a group. And that's something I wish that they had when I was in the academy. What is the hardest part, you would say, about the academy? And maybe, again, kind of looking at this through the eyes, a perspective of like a cadet. If you were a cadet today, what would be the hardest part that you would say is in the academy?
Well, it depends on the individual. The whole day is hard. The academy is hard. It's not easy. We're not going to sit here and say it's an easy time, but I say, like I mentioned earlier, develop a routine. You're going to have homework, get in a routine of studying, doing your homework, because there are tests, and these tests are designed to help you pass a test at the end of the academy, the OC, to get you certified to become a police officer. There's a reason and a method and why we do homework, why we assign homework. We have quizzes. And I think that's what a lot of the cadets struggle with, is getting in a routine and studying each night, because it's important to study. It's just like school. You need to study and prepare yourself each day.
Yeah, I think just the day in and day out, there's not one single hardest thing that you can prepare for, that if you pass that, you're going to be a police officer. I think it's every day being disciplined, holding yourself accountable at night, being prepared for the next day, and just sticking with it, right? Just staying with it day in and day out for those 6 months. And then when you leave us, you go out to OJT with field training officers, and it's the same thing, right? We hopefully you've developed a routine, you've instilled that self-discipline in yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I guess that's interesting you say that, because about the homework, I've had quite a few applicants call into the recruiting office and, they ask, well, can I still go to college during the academy? And there's no rule against it that I'm aware of. I mean, if I'm wrong, correct me, but there's no rule against it. But what I encourage them is to focus on the academy, because your time is going to be so spent in the academy. That's going to be everything. It's going to be your life for those 26 weeks that you're at the academy, that if you do try to juggle both things at the same time, one of them is going to tip off balance, and it might hurt you. So I've always encouraged them to put off college until after the academy. However, again, I do encourage people to continue that education upon graduation, because it's so important for their career development later on.
Sure. Yeah, that attention to detail while you're in the academy is so important. I think it can be challenging to do both, to continue college or school and the academy.
Can you guys talk about your experience with? I'm trying to read this question, but I can't.
Their own experience.
What?
Their own experience.
Your own experience. Oh, okay. Your own experience with the academy.
Well, I've been going on 18 years now. I was in the field for 13 of these 18 years, meaning I responded to calls for service in a uniform. I really enjoyed that. Of those 13 years, 7 years, I was a field training officer who I trained recruits once they graduated the academy, and I really enjoyed that. And it's always been my goal to join the academy staff. So I joined the academy as an instructor, and I later became promoted to sergeant, and I became the sergeant of the basic training unit, because I enjoy teaching you guys. I enjoy teaching cadets, helping them learn, and you guys are our future, and I want to make sure our future is taken care of for this department in this city.
Yeah, similar to Sarge, I was a field officer. I've been on 11 years, not quite as long, but for 8 or 9 of that, I was in the field. I was also a field training officer, and I think the academy was a kind of a natural progression. I start with recruits in the field, trying to teach them the job, and so now I'm at the academy, training cadets. So
yeah, that's amazing. And the way I kind of look at my experience, I'm not a basic instructor, but I enjoy this part of it so much more than I would have expected, because I feel like we're at the to developing a successful police officer. And in 25 years, if somebody decides to stick around, hopefully they do, that we were a part of that 25-year experience, and it's multiplied by however many cadets you guys train. So, I think it's an amazing thing, and I applaud you guys. You guys do a great job with these cadets. I've seen you working with them, and you guys do great. Let's see if there's any more questions. So, can you talk about the different personalities of cadets, and just kind of how do you deal with that? I'll give you an example, I guess. I remember when I went to the academy, there was a cadet came in with a negative attitude, and almost like a challenging attitude, like, I'm going to show you how it is instead of learn from what you're going to teach me. Do you guys experience that, and how do you overcome that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing, or one of the most important things when you're coming into the academy, is to have that growth mindset, be open. We have a lot of military, right, that are now transitioning to being police officers. And although they have experience and they're disciplined and they're kind of used to that atmosphere, even they seem to benefit from just having that open mindset, being able to kind of soak up the training. And so I think that's probably one of the most important things, is just being able to take critiques, take criticism, and then improve, learn from that.
All right. Yeah. And I remember a question I had from a community policing council meeting. There was a citizen that was concerned about us recruiting from the military, because there was a concern that they might need demilitarization. Have you ever experienced anything like that? Or is that something that we have to, I know that there's an extensive background process and to kind of screen out for things that are, over aggressive personalities. Have you guys experienced anything like that?
No, quite the opposite. Usually our guys with men or women with military experience tend to be the better leaders naturally, and they have life experience coming from that background. and they tend to corral the cadets and bring up their morale. And even without our instruction to do so, they just are natural leaders, and it helps cadets who aren't used to that atmosphere of such a regimented lifestyle, and they get them ready. So I think military careers aren't like, it's not necessary, but it is a benefit to the academy.
Sounds that, I mean, that's that kind of the experience that I've seen with the officers I've worked with that were in the military. They've always been outstanding. And like you said, it's kind of that the natural leadership that they get. It seems like it translates well, to police work.
Exactly.
So can we talk about the RBTs? I mean, we do get a lot of questions about what is my training going to be like? How realistic is it going to get? I know that with RBTs, it's gotten pretty close to real life scenarios.
Yeah, so our reality-based training center is, it's integral training, I think, for the whole department, and the academy definitely uses it, different phases of training at our RBT center. And it is, but again, we start real basic, just talking to people, just contacting individuals, and then trying to be able to apply what you've learned through your different law block and different classroom instruction, and apply that to somewhat of a real world setting.
Right.
And so, yeah, we use it a lot. And there's different phases, and it gets a little more intense through each phase, and a little more realistic, right? For taking calls on the street.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So we have another question about if the cadets have to shave their heads or their face.
Yes, currently male cadets do have to shave their heads. One usually, they are required to shave their facial hair throughout the academy. Towards the end, if you should make it that far, we then allow to grow your hair back and be ready for graduation or your life as an OJT.
All right. So you said one, that's like the lowest setting.
Yeah, it's the lowest, correct. It's lowest setting. It's designed that way there's less things to worry about. Females need to put their hair up in a bun above their collar. If you should make it into the academy, you'll be given instruction on exactly how to do this. So
another question would be, like with me, I never had really shot a pistol when I joined the academy. How does that work? I mean, should if I'm trying to prepare for the academy, should I go out and buy a gun?
Well, it's okay if you have a gun. I wouldn't recommend going out and buy a gun. We have a great training staff at our shooting range, and they actually prefer you to have no shooting experience because they don't want you to develop poor habits. They start you off from beginner, and before the academy is over, you'll be a quality shooter. We have one of the best shooting teams on the department, and it all starts with our training staff at the range.
Yeah, some of our best shooters have actually never shot a gun before the academy starts, so they haven't developed any bad habits. And then our range staff really does a good job of preparing them and making them really proficient, really proficient.
That's cool. So another question that's coming up, and I think this one's more for recruiting, but does APD only hire officers? Entry-level training opportunities for evidence. So we only hire police officers, police laterals. Right now, we are looking for prisoner transport officers and also police service aides. For evidence technicians and things dealing with other civilian portions of the police department, you'd have to go to the city website to look for those job openings. But you can certainly call us. I mean, we'll guide you the best we can, 505-343-5040. But those are the ones we specifically hire for. So I know in the academy you have to get pepper sprayed. Can you tell me a little bit about that? What is the meaning of that? I mean, why would you pepper spray a cadet? And what is the experience of that for the cadets? I mean, I know mine was terrible, but maybe from your side, you can tell me.
Yeah, there's a reason we train. It's one of our less lethal options that officers do carry, and they're certified to carry. And the reason why we are sprayed during the academy is there may be a time when we're exposed to it inadvertently, or a subject may spray us with their own can of mace, and we need to be able to fight through it and function through it and ask for help. And it's more of a safety mechanism that we need. That's why it's a valuable training.
Yeah, I know that, personal experience, if I ever had to use pepper spray, there's never been a time where I didn't get a little bit on me. And it's having to experience that, and also, the humanity of having to deploy that less lethal munitions and understanding the effect it's going to have on somebody.
Exactly.
So I know you guys train emergency vehicle operations. I remember in the academy, that was like the funnest day for me. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, has things changed? I mean, I went to the academy back in more longer than I want to say, but what is that all about?
Yeah, so emergency vehicle operations course is emergency driving. You're going to be a large portion of your day as an officer is going to be spent in your car, and you have to be able to drive it under various circumstances, right, throughout the day. And so it's important to know the dynamics of that vehicle, how it's going to perform under different conditions. And the state puts together a course that kind of prepares people who have never driven very seriously in their life. They're not race car drivers, but we get them in police cars and doing things with the car that definitely they've probably never done before. So the cadets definitely love that training. It's one of their more favorite parts.
Yeah, as Officer Treadway mentioned, it is designed to teach you to safely drive an emergency vehicle, but it is one of the funnest things you'll do in the academy. You get to go through cones, a variety of obstacles, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and just thinking about going back to what we were talking about, that mental stress of having to operate this heavy piece of machinery, which is a car. We all do it daily, but in these emergency conditions and having to logic your way through these problems and these obstacles. I mean, that definitely comes into play there.
And just like anything, we'll start very simple, very basic, just backing a car through some cones. But then as the week progresses, the speeds get faster, the cones get smaller,
Right.
And it gets harder to do. And we're constantly pushing a little bit more.
So when is the next training academy set to start?
Our next class will be the 124th Cadet Classes, slated to begin March 29th of this year. We're hoping to have at least 70 cadets. That's our goal. If you are interested in applying, please do so. We can use your help. The city needs you. We need you. Law enforcement is a challenging career, but it's very, very important to the city. And think about your children. You want your children and your family to have a safe city to grow up in and live in. You're part of that.
Yeah, no, and definitely go to APD online to apply. You may not make it to the March Academy, but we have another one coming up in August. And again, the Academy is 26 weeks, right? So there's plenty of time to prepare. So give us a call, go to APD online. If you have hesitations about applying, contact us. We'll walk you through the process. Again, it's our job, and I feel like you guys have expressed this as well, but we're not here to weed you out. I mean, I think the process itself, if this isn't the job for you, you're going to learn it right away, and you're going to make the decision on your own. We don't need to make the decision for you. So contact us, let us know, and we'll help you out the best we can. I guess another question that we often get is it a live-in academy?
No, you'll, as Sergeant said earlier, so your day will start about 6:30 in the morning. And we usually, there are different shifts. Just like a police officer, we might work a swing shift, but we let the cadets know well in advance what their schedule is going to be. But for the most part, it's just 6 to 4 during the day. You'll go home at night.
Yeah, cool. I know that, again, when I was going through the academy, like one of the most challenging things was that alterations of the day, because sometimes we had to do practice traffic stops at night. So you have to come in later, or you have to do something really early in the morning. So you have to come in really early and being prepared. So it's definitely something that people should consider when they're in the academy, understanding it's not going to be necessarily a 9 to 5 every day, right?
Exactly.
We got to have some, just like real police work. Police work happens when police work happens. We don't get to choose it. We just have to respond to it. So, let's see if we got more questions. So if you're becoming a PSA or a police service aide or a transport officer, is it easy to get into the academy? So we're talking about a couple of different things here. prisoner transport is a little bit of a different academy. It's a different hiring process. We will help you with that. Police service aides. I mean, I don't know if there's any real difference in the difficulty. It's just up to you to file that application, go through the process, and just see where it goes. If you have questions, I think you would have to contact us and kind of a little bit more specifics about what any concerns are for either one of those. And the Police Service Aid Academy, do you guys run the Police Service Aid Academy as well?
Basic training is in charge of the PSA Academy. We have an officer who is specifically in charge of running that portion of the academy, which is the PSAs.
And is it similar to the Basic Academy, or are there differences?
It's a big difference. You learn the basics of police work. It's not as physical, not as regimented. It's a lot easier, to put it bluntly.
Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, and I know the Police Service Aid program is kind of, we accept anybody for a PSA, but we generally see it as kind of like an entry point into the police department. Most PSAs that I've seen go on to become police officers. However, understand this, that's not the only person that can be a PSA. Anybody can apply to be a PSA, but we do encourage them to become police officers. I want to thank you guys so much for, answering questions and being here and being so, casual and upfront about everything. I hope that those out there that were listening learned something. And again, APD online, or call us at 343-5040. Contact a recruiter, ask some more questions. We're always here to answer any questions we didn't get to today, but we want to thank you again, and everybody have a great day and call us.